In this video, I'm going to show how a ServiceNow bridge to Zerto disaster recovery can be used. First, the installation process. The installation is pretty simple. An environment file must be created with the Zerto appliance information as well as vCenter and some ServiceNow token information. Once that's done, a container is pulled from the GitHub repo. The container gets deployed with the environment variable that has all the necessary tokens and passwords. So these are not stored in the container itself. Once that's done, a command is run to execute addition of CMDB schema to the ServiceNow tables and columns, as well as another script that creates all the UI actions, as well as injects all the necessary scripts that are needed to communicate. An account is needed in ServiceNow that is a machine account, which will be used to control the mid server. After that, the ServiceNow mid server is downloaded. Mid server allows communication, one-way communication between an on-prem and the ServiceNow online portal. To configure the mid server, a few things are entered. The ServiceNow instance. This will depend on your production instance or not. Some settings around proxy authentication. The user that was just created for the mid account, credentials for that. We're not going to enable certificate revocation. Naming the mid server and the service for the mid server, as well as a service name for the mid server. This doesn't have to be specific for Zerto, a username that's going to execute that. Mid server process gets started, and now ServiceNow can communicate with an online local mid server, which will allow authenticated unidirectional commands from the ServiceNow console to an on-prem environment. This is validated. Once the validation is succeeded, we proceed. Here's an example where we have 4 alerts running in a Zerto environment. We've got an alert around peer sites not being upgraded, as well as 3 VPGs not being tested. We'll go over to ServiceNow. Because of the communication now, those alerts are automatically displayed in the ServiceNow alerts, which match the Zerto alerts. So if an acknowledgement is made for an alert or an alert is dismissed in one place, it will get updated to the other place. So now ticket operations can monitor Zerto without having to log into Zerto. Next, let's look at VPGs. As you can see, there are a number of VPGs available in this environment. Because of the mid-server communication, those VPGs are also auto-populated into ServiceNow. Let's look at the details of a specific VPG. Let's look at local one. And if we go to settings, you can see there are quite a lot of things around journal length, capacities, etc. So we'll go to the same VPG in ServiceNow. As you can see, it's not populated. So that's easy to fix. We're going to actually refresh from Zerto. This automatically happens once every hour, but it can be queued, and it'll take about 30 seconds for a VPG to populate. Now we've got the VPG populated with all the information. So CMDB is now updated with the latest VPG information for Zerto, and they'll get automatically updated every hour on the hour. Now let's look at operations. So this is all viewing and understanding, so both CMDB and alerts databases, but we can actually, as an operator, request a test failover for a specific VPG. We saw that one VPG hadn't. We're going to choose approval for test. We're going to request approval from change management, whatever the workflow may be for specific customers. You can do that. Now the change is awaiting approval. Once the approvers approve this test, these are just sample approvers. So you can see the request to change management. They can approve that. I think in this chain there are going to be 2 approvals that are needed. So let's go back. Yep, that one's approval for change management. So CAB approval is needed that own the application. They can approve doing a test failover for the VPG. And once that's done, we can see what was requested, what the VPG was. We're going to proceed and update that record, go back to the VPG, and now the test run the test failover button shows up once it's approved. By executing that button, an operator has executed a Zerto disaster recovery failover test straight from ServiceNow. If we go back into, we can see the VPG this was done. If we go back into Zerto, you're going to see the test failover is automatically running for that VPG. So again, no need to access the Zerto VPG. The operations are happening within ServiceNow. No need to stop the test from here. Let's say the application owner has done the DR test and they have determined that everything is operating perfectly. We could stop it from here, but we're not going to stop it from here because the idea is to have this as an operator. We can either mark this successful or failed as a failover test. So we're going to say FOT successful, and we're going to close that ticket. And by marking it successful, it will actually shut there. We've got a change control that has been automatically created in the ServiceNow ticketing system. We have an alert here that is going to go away, but first that test has to clean up. So let's go into Zerto, and it is stopping the failover test. So we're going to wait for that failover test to stop. Okay, that's done. That was done for that VM. So let's go back into the alerts, refresh them, and we can see that alert has gone away automatically because we have completed that test. And so the idea here is that operations can execute Zerto.